Before we start today's episode, a quick announcement from supporters of this show, Go Venture. Did you know that personal financial literacy is increasingly being taught in schools and universities? Well, today they have a special offer and it's just for teachers. It's a free online course that will help you gain the wisdom to make better money decisions in your own life. And the course will also prepare you to teach personal financial literacy to students. The course allows you to learn at your own pace, and it uses experiential learning to keep you engaged from start to finish. Expand your career opportunities and gain the confidence to be a teaching superhero. Enroll in this course today. It's only free to teachers for a limited time. Go to teachingsuperhero.com. That's teachingsuperhero.com. Brought to you by MediaSpark, the makers of Go Venture. Now, here's today's episode of Inspiring Teachers. Hey everybody, Danny Hogger here. Hope you're having an outstanding week. Thank you so much for checking out our show. Are you looking for new and engaging ways to get your students up and moving in the classroom? Get out of the sit and get rut of teaching by checking out ampeduplearning.com, a two-teacher-owned and operated company in Texas that is looking to gamify teaching with creative new activities for the classroom. From their FREC resources and escape rooms for social studies and science to speed squares and task cards for math and English, they have tons of teacher-created resources. So many good things up there. And don't forget to check out their apparel designed specifically for teachers. Look good and support teachers. That's something I can get behind. Use code HOGGERHISTORY10 to save 10% on all items and follow them on social media at Amped Up Learning for their monthly giveaways of Amazon gift cards, lessons, and apparel. Man, supporting teachers while also supporting teachers, that sounds like something we could really get behind. And don't forget to use that code HOGGERHISTORY10 to save 10% on all items at ampeduplearning.com. What a great way to start. Now let's move on to the show. Thank you so much for supporting Inspiring Teachers.
Welcome to Inspiring Teachers, a show bringing you classroom tips, motivation, and stories from successful educators. Join Tavis Beam and Danny Hogger as they explore the why of teaching.
And again, this is Danny Hogger and Tavis Beam. We are Inspiring Teachers. You can find us online on YouTube, on podbean.com, on iTunes and Spotify, interviewing guests weekly and talking about teaching. So Alyson, thank you so much for joining us and being here with us today. It's a pleasure to be with you in San Jose. Where's home for you, Alyson?
Home is Huntington Beach, California, Orange County.
I love Orange County. I worked for the Angels for 5 years, and I struggle to not go back because I'm afraid I'll stay forever.
Not come home.
It's really hard to be there and to not stay. I loved, one of my favorite things ever, just a little life note here, was taking my guitar out to the beach in the pier and just sitting outside and just feeling the waves, and such a great part of the world. I also did broadcasting for Golden West College down there, down doing water polo and sports. And so this weekend, what are we talking about, Alyson? What's going on with you and your teaching, and what are some things that you're excited about and inspired about? Hashtag Inspiring Teachers.
Hashtag. I've gotten the privilege to present at the CTA conferences for possibly 15 years. And so I've just really come, as you guys said, to the weekend knowing that I'm going to be just as inspired as maybe I would inspire another teacher. Right. And so I always look forward to just sharing genuinely the love for teaching, the passion for being in a classroom with students all day, and letting them know that, being very transparent that teaching is a gift and a blessing, and that you love what you're doing, and letting your students absolutely know you love them. So I do believe that classroom management comes out of that connection with your students, as opposed to finding things we need to work on, discipline, work against. It's really knowing that that connection is there and the students love and respect being in there, so they're going to really honor what you're asking them to do, as opposed to where we need to fix things. I think it kind of starts with the connection we have with our students. And so a huge part of what I do share and what I love teachers to know all over the world is just being in there for the love of the job and letting the students know you're there for that love, and then letting the students share themselves and getting to know our students more than just the academic number or the grade or the problem that they've solved. I think our students want to be connected. They want to share themselves. And the more we genuinely share, like all my students know I'm here this weekend. They knew last week that I had laryngitis and I couldn't talk.
Right.
And so they raise a bar because they want
Right.
you to feel like you want to be there also.
Right. And when you're transparent and when you are yourself, they can see that. And they maybe don't get that in every single classroom. What I love is that I don't have any signs on my room that I've made about behavior or class policies. They know I care about them. So therefore, I wouldn't want anything to distract us from learning or respecting each other. And they can feel it because I exemplify it. But when I show how much I care and I ask them about their interests, or I find news based on the things that they're interested in, they know that this is a community where we're all looking out for each other and are interested.
Yeah, I really want to know how you actually apply some of those philosophies into your class. And also, what grade do you speak mostly to?
Thank you. I actually, right now, I'm 7th and 8th grade intermediate school. I teach or coordinate the AVID program, Advancement via Individual Determination, and then I also teach levels of math. I did start elementary, went to administration, and quickly learned that I loved and was great in administration, but I just missed being with the students.
Right.
And so truly loved just the element of what you ask is how do you do that? And I think that's important is it doesn't just genuinely occur. I do have a wall that says mistakes are welcome across the whole wall.
Mention that in hour one,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, it's chalked on there with chalk. And I think one of the things that it was a personal journey for me of realizing that I'm going to try to do things just right and be perfect, but it doesn't work that way.
No.
And so realizing that I also need to be very comfortable with my mistakes and very transparent with them. And so I let students know that their responsibility is to come in every day with something they don't know, something they're not sure about, a question they want to raise, a question they weren't sure about last night when they were doing homework or when they were pondering an issue. And when they come in with that question, it lets the safety of the environment really escalate because everyone has a question. Everyone's come in knowing that, hey, I need to know something. I'm here to learn. It's not a problem or it's not wrong to not know. And so I jump around and get excited when they're like, I have a question. And I think really showing them that you genuinely mean that really lets them know that, no, at this time in this hour, I'm supposed to not, it's supposed to not know everything. I'm supposed to have a question. When there is a mistake, we really do chant out loud, mistakes are, and they finish welcome.
Oh, cool.
And so if someone messes up and goes, oh man, that's not what I meant, or that wasn't right, or gosh, I'm not sure, then we all go, okay, well, no problem. Mistakes are.
Yep.
Nice.
Welcome.
It's not a saying, it's practice.
It's a practice. And so to just let them know that that's part of life. We're all going to have elements where we make an error or someone else. Be gracious with that.
It's pretty cool. I really like it. From the first time I meet them, what I blow them away with is I do an hour all about me, my family, my career, my college, my mistakes, the things that led me on different paths and how they weren't mistakes and how they led me to be the person I am, how I learned and developed from them. Then I have them write their story on a piece of paper. What would be written about you to this point? Who are you as an individual? I want to know. And I read each one and then I talk to them about it to show that I've read it and that it wasn't just something they turned in to kill 15 minutes on day one. And then when they realize and can hopefully get inspired by one of the things I talk about, the radio, the guitar, the touring, the speaking, the broadcasting, the failure to be popular as a kid in school, the struggles to not want to volunteer in class. And something I say connects with everyone. And a lot of times before they even leave the first day, like, you're different, huh?
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, my approach is to be myself. And I want you to be yourself in here. And the 1 hour investment, some teachers are like, you need to get right into your syllabus. I'm like, nope. This is the best investment of time of 1 hour that pays off every class all year.
Right.
2 weeks ago, I flew home to visit my family in Oklahoma, and it was my mom's husband's 100th birthday. Wow. And so I really quickly shared that with them and that I'd be right back, and I'd be back Monday, but this was something that I thought was so important. So now we're reading an article on his 100th birthday and reading an article on what made him him and his struggles and his failures and his successes and joys. And I think what you said is so important. Bring in your life, share your life, let them know what you're doing, that you're pursuing a new little interest of topic, that you're searching for learning in your way, that I'm coming this weekend to learn from you guys. I also think it's super important for them to realize a balance of work and relaxation and play. So I do embed a bunch of mindfulness techniques that has definitely grown over the last few years. I'm a yoga instructor, so I really have found that important. So before every test or quiz or just type of assessment, we stop, we close our eyes and breathe. And we always ask the question, will they buy into it? Will they think it's important? Will there be giggling and laughter and joking and ridiculing? And And I just tell them it's precious to my heart, that it's something that's very important to me.
Really? Yeah.
And that if you don't want to take part in it, it's absolutely 100% fine.
Sure.
But just don't disrespect the time.
Yeah.
And so we see students that haven't at first thought, oh, I don't want to close my eyes, or I don't want to take that deep breath.
Yeah.
At this point, I have to say every single one of them, they're closed eyes. They're sitting up tall. They're taking a deep breath. They're like, I need this. Like they're busy. They're stressed.
Yeah.
They have a lot going on in their little worlds too.
I did the Mindful Schools training
Yes.
for teachers, and I really enjoyed bringing it into my classroom, and even had the opportunity to have like an outside little group as well with some students that would come in. And what I would tell them about the giggling is just recognize that that's what your brain is doing right now. Make it part of the practice. That you're feeling this overwhelming urge to giggle. What does that feeling feel like in your body? Right? Why do you have that overwhelming urge, and use it as part of the waking up process to the moment? So, what are some of the techniques that you have used with the kids, or do you just have them like sit and breathe, or do you have like different exercises that you do with them?
Great question. I think for my math classes, I'm at the point right now where it's really focusing on that time before assessments. Or if we come in and we're just definitely working on something crazy rigorous, and we'll stop for a moment and do so. In Avid, we truly are getting out of our seats, and we're actually on the floor. And we're calling it mindfulness and not meditation.
Right.
Just for the ability to not connect it to anything that may be controversial.
Yeah.
And they beg me for this time. They just, can we please do it again this week? Or can we please do it twice a week? Or so they are on the ground. I ask them to sit up first, really straight and tall, to check their posture, open up their lungs. And we've practiced deep breathing. And then about halfway through that mindfulness time, I ask them if they want to change their positioning, if they want to lay down, if they want to relax in a different position. That's great. You'll see some students start to fall asleep. And I think that's maybe what we need.
Right.
We need a moment
That's
just to
where
let
they're
the body break down. And I really have found it productive for everyone, myself included, to sit quietly and just breathe a couple times a week. So I am in the Resilient Mindful Learner Project in Orange County right now. And that will be a 8-week training. And so I'm excited to bring more and more of that into my classroom.
It is such a rich experience especially when you find that dialogue with the students about when they start really seeing inside their own minds. There are always those students who you say, well, you want to pay attention to the chatter and the noise that your brain is making. And they say, what do you mean?
Yeah, it's not.
There's no chatter. It's like, oh, that thing inside of you that said there's no chatter, that's the chatter.
Yeah, exactly.
That's the thing.
Exactly. And as we share our own chatter and what I hear in my own voice, they're like, oh my gosh, me too. I hear that too. Or is it more positive? Is it more negative? What is kind of going through your mind?
And just giving them the ability to label, thinking about the past, worrying about the future, thinking about the present, having emotions, happy, sad, frustrated, itchy, whatever it is, just labeling those things.
It's really neat.
It is a really fun thing, but at the same time, I feel like we really jive, the three of us, in our approaches to teaching. How have your colleagues felt about your approach? Because I've had mixed reviews when people find out about my the relationship aspect being more vital than I don't want to say more vital than the educational process, but like making the relationship first. That's not always taken with open arms by all my colleagues. So I was wondering how.
Great
that's affected
question.
with you.
I think for a little while, because I started this philosophy many, many years ago, and so I feel like we're kind of heading there more now. It's becoming a little bit more common and open. Kind of the dialogue is happening. But years ago, my mistakes are welcome was almost kind of a joke. And across the board of my colleagues, it was like, they would say, oh my gosh, mistakes are welcome, and if they made a mistake, it was more of a mistakes are welcome, like in Ms. H's class. Now it's in other classes. Now it's definitely being embedded where you'll see that sign up, you'll see them using that. I also use thank you notes in my class. So anytime I see a student ask a great question, respect, being mindful with someone else, I just say, man, thanks so much. So appreciate that. Get a thank you note. And you'll see these big, huge boys strutting their stuff over there, that little box that has a thank you note in it. So that with your question of mine too, they used to kind of go, and a thank you note, a thank you note. And now I see them using their own type of reward, be it in a positive light, some word that kind of attaches a positive connotation.
Can you tell me more about the thank you notes? Are these things that you've pre-written? Or are they, what are they?
They are literally on a scratch paper that it says thank you 6 times, and I cut up, and it just is literally a scratch piece of paper. I mean, it's printed that I just cut into 6, and they're in a box. It just sits that says thank you. They don't ask for a name or why or a date, and it just goes back and forth. And so there's probably right now 100 of them running around our school in different people's backpacks. And they can exchange them for things they might need. They might need an extra night for homework because life was busy. They might need a pencil because they forgot. They might need a bathroom pass because, man, I just forgot. And so they come and go. But the major thing I've seen is when I hand them to a student, it's very clear why they're getting it, why I'm thanking them, why I appreciate them, why I respect them. And so they get the recognition more than they're getting something extrinsic. And then I will honor that when they need to use it.
That's really nice because it's validating to the student and it's relationship building for you, and it gives them the grace of the mistake. I forgot the pencil.
Correct.
Because in many classes it's like, what do you mean you forgot? This is school. You're supposed to have pencils, and it becomes a point of conflict and stress. Correct. And when our brains are stressed, as we know from the science, we shut down. We don't learn, and so giving them that back and forth is just, it gives them space.
And how often our students reflect what we give them. So if we're going to give them kindness and grace, we're probably going to get it back.
At times they tell me when I'm doing something like, Miss H, you deserve a thank you note. And so I'll thank you very much.
That's sweet.
Yeah.
As we started with getting to know students, we have just a few more minutes left with Alyson Hoberecht here. One of the things that I wanted to share with you earlier that is my favorite assignment that I give, it's our school's Heritage High School. So we do a What's Your Heritage project. And I asked them to go interview someone in their family about their family or how they got here or what they did as kids or how they worked and how they affected their community, to teach them that one day you will have a big ripple effect, and you already do, in the communities that you live in. So they come back and bring stories from other countries, and they learn something that they didn't know about their family that makes them proud of their family or respectful or understanding of the things that they've done. And they present it to the class. And the only way you can do something like that is for every student to feel really comfortable with each other, that they can share those details and know that there's no judgment. And sometimes we're brought to tears or respect or hugging each other for the things that are shared. And we all learn how valuable that our family stories have been and how validated we are to be here with each other, and how lucky we are to have the histories, even when they're full of challenges and difficulty. And there's been a few times where they've gone and spoken to a grandparent or great-grandparent, and they've recorded a story, and then they've passed, and they've been the only one that have been recorded this family story and tradition to pass down for their family. And it's always connects to something in the standards that we're learning about, a place, a time, or a culture, or a society, but it's so much more than that.
Yeah.
And then we're all appreciating each other, and that builds the classroom community, and it cuts down on difficulties, and it's just, there's so many positive benefits that it pays off dividend wise.
I think those connection activities are really important. I think that we as teachers sometimes say our pacing, our standards, we got to move. We don't have time for a connection activity. Yeah, like I have the next thing that I need in my, in my pacing. I think that finding the standards, and it's got to be certain times, and it can't be all the time, finding the standards where you can stop and let them connect. Similarly, I do in math connection activities where when I find a standard that is highly important yet maybe a bit boring to teach, I just extend it onto them and say, okay, now on this coordinate plane, go sketch your initials and know the background of those initials. What does your name mean? Find the slope on there, but on the back of this project, please tell me something about yourself that I would not know yet. That if I were just going to meet you as an academic scholar, I would never know. And so when I read through what they write back, and of course you're looking at the math, it's still connected to what they're learning. You're learning something that I might not ever know about them, and enables me to have those conversations when they're walking and leaving and really get to know them more than just the academic student that sits in your classroom.
Perfect. Alyson Hoberecht, thank you so much for joining us today
Absolutely.
on Inspiring Teachers. We have a mug for you as a parting gift.
You.
And luckily for you, we've remembered that we brought mugs for parting gifts, and we'll catch up with the other presenters shortly. But thank you so much. And we really appreciate those words of wisdom that you shared with us. Thanks.